Hello everyone and welcome back for what is going to probably be the last video of this Let's Play series. For this video I wanted to make a quick recap of the main events that happened during this campaign, as well as completing the recap I did on episode 50, I believe, around day 70, where I talked about the best build, a few tactical things and a few mechanics that there are in the game. I still had to complete that video with titles and with tier 3 classes. So I'm gonna try to do this quickly, do the quick recap, and talk about tier 3 classes and how I handled this in this campaign. So first of all, just a quick disclaimer on this one. Feel free to have any complementary advices or a different opinion on what I'm about to say. That's obviously a thing. So if you have any insight, I would gladly have them from you in the comments, because I could use them in a future playthrough or whatever. And second disclaimer, this campaign was done between version 1.0, because I started just after the full release of the game, up to version 1.17, I believe. So there were many fixes done by the dev. I probably did 50 reports across this playthrough for minor bugs we encountered along the way. There were absolutely no game-breaking bugs, no major bugs, only minor ones or minor issues. Around about those 50 reports, like 30 were fixed in less than 2 days, I would say, which is extremely pleasing to see. So thanks again, GreenGuy, for this hidden gem you keep taking care of. About 10 were dismissed because they were not a bug, or they couldn't be fixed for whatever reason. Well, 10 were not fixed, and 10 are probably still in the ticketing system of the dev and might be fixed later, because they were so minor there wasn't clearly no rush to fix this. So this is overall what it takes to have a really good dev caring about his game and pushing it forward. So if you look at this video, I don't know, in 2026, the game will likely be rebalanced in some areas. So yeah, those comments I'm about to tell you are maybe not as accurate as I would like them to be, probably not as good, and so take them with a grain of salt. And yeah, the game might evolve, the skills might evolve, the builds, the meta might evolve. So yeah, please consider this in the future. So this is day 168. We could have ended the game, I believe, in day 140 or something. We had to wait for the ice bright to pop back again for upgrading our last piece of equipment, but there was a bug preventing the ice bright from popping up again, which was fixed in the meantime, so we handed that on day 168. The difficulty settings we used for this campaign was as follows, only for the end. I started on something like this, which was the current very hard difficulty. This was at 0. I decreased the rewards at -50 or -40 here, maybe, or there. And random pot modifier did not exist as a modifier for custom difficulty, so I don't know how it started implicitly, because it was not displayed explicitly at the beginning of this campaign. And then I pushed it to 20, and ultimately I pushed it at 100 by the end of the campaign. So sorry, this way. So this was the difficulty setting by the end game. I increased it little by little across the campaign, because I believe that once you know what you're doing in this game, late game becomes mid game and late game are getting easier and easier. So I will suggest the dev to add some sort of increasing difficulty setting or some sort of a doom clock for this game, because otherwise you can chill and wait for day 1000. Try to get the best possible adventurers in your tavern before you move forward, and yeah, that's something you can do, but I would believe that the game would be better if there was an optional setting to have this, like the Emperor is granting more and more power, is gaining more and more power, so his subordinates are getting stronger over the course of the playthrough every week or so. That would make sense. What else? Death. We played on Permadeath. We scouted 4 guys. One was a request for from a viewer, Alejandro, our bard. We scouted 3 others to try some builds, which end up in our A team. We scouted our Dragon Knight, our Archer, and our Dragon Knight, our Beastmaster now, and our Witch. And we surprisingly got 0 death. In my previous playthrough on very hard on Ironman Permadeath, I had 4 deaths. 3 or 4, I can't remember, that which all happened very early in the campaign. In this campaign we had no death, however we had 7 death resist rolls, which were all successful, 3 of which happened on D tier adventurers, like crazy crap adventurers we had in the early game, so we could have lost them. It would have been a loss obviously, but not that big a deal. 1 happened on Kiera, our A mage, very early in the campaign, by an elite lizard that walked very far away, 2 tiles away from her, but lizards are able to, with their spears, to strike 2 tiles away. So the lizard hit her just enough, doing enough damage. The damage output was exactly the number of HP Kira had at that time. So, but she survived the death roll. And the 3 last death roll we had were on Finian on the same fight. You can see the video, it's around video episode 105, I believe. The title is When Overconfidence Punishes You, because I was clearly being overconfident. The quest was supposed to be a very easy one, but I faced an elite Berserker Ice Fang, which had some crazy passives, and Finian struck him without killing him, and the guy struck back 3 times and critting the first time for 250 damage, because he had a lot of physical penetration and was doing crazy high damage due to the difficulty setting. And Finian rolled 3 death rolls in a row, but he had so high bravery that he passed all his rolls automatically. Only the last roll had only 96% chance to succeed. And the fact that he had 3 death rolls in a row, he had only 0.24% chance to die on that encounter, due to the crit chance and due to the death roll chances. But his bravery and his trait made him very likely to succeed all of them. So, all right. Just for for this campaign, we did not use any potion except for the Voratax fight, and by duel as well, if I remember correctly. So we chose, due to the difficulty setting in terms of reward, not to use any consumable. We did an exemption on Voratax, which was clearly not necessary, as Voratax did not even get a second turn. But yeah, no potion. And yep, I wanted to check as well the damage, how each of our guy performed, because I think it's very interesting to see how we played this campaign. And I did this halfway between the campaign on episode 50. I will do the same thing here, just to see how each of my characters evolved for the second half of the campaign, and I rewatched this episode 50 video before just to check a few things. And yeah, let's start with Alejandro. So Alejandro actually did not do much damage. He was supposed to be scratching his banjo, his guitar all along, which is what he did. He only killed 10 enemies, did 1,000 damage. Notably, he killed Voratax. I made sure that Alejandro would have the final killing blow on Voratax. So he's the one who has killed the most dangerous enemy in the whole playthrough. And yeah, so he was not supposed to do some DPS. He was not a DPS character, so that's perfectly normal. Then we have Ilan. So our famous lost son. Ilan was turned into Paladin quite quickly in the campaign. Let me show you the statistics of everyone. So your kind born leader, brave, arm wrestling, tournament winner, and veteran knowledge. Ilan only had trained by Falcon and loyal friend as unique. So he also had strange memories and mind over body unique traits. He was Paladin. Finian was our sadist, quick soldier trained Dragon Knight, who got arm wrestling, blessing bar of Fenrir, and wire spirit extremely late in the campaign, so they were not much useful. He just got Herald of Ifrit, also like on the very last quest of the campaign, more or less. So he did not benefit a lot from this growth attribute. Leon was our Beastmaster, quick solo train and with mana core, which came in very handy. I don't like mana core much because I think, especially on mages, because mages can regenerate their own SP, but on big SP burners who cannot regenerate properly, yeah, it's absolutely OP. So yeah, these are the traits of Leon. He got arm wrestling around level 12, which is not much, and I gave him almost all the strengths potions I found along the playthrough. Kira was our S tier silent enchantress witch, and yeah, those as our traits. And Eric was our starting mage. We got on day 0 of the playthrough that I found would be better as a priest, to turn bishop, to turn saint. So here are his traits. So Ilan, I found that he was quite underwhelming late game. By the mid game, he did 111 kills and 7k damage. So he did not scale as I wished he would. His main purpose was to have mass auras, which he did by default very well. But ultimately, I think my team composition was not perfect. It was not the current meta as it should have been. Having a paladin up to mid game is interesting. I would tend to believe that if I could have, by halfway through the campaign, I would have loved to replace Paladin by another mage. Probably Alyssa could have gone in the A team. I would have turned Ilan into a Dragon Knight or keep Finian, I don't know. And G-Class, maybe, either Ilan or Finian in the B team, and keep only one frontliner in this playthrough. I chose to keep Ilan as a Paladin, just to see how we would perform, but I tend to believe he was underperforming in the late game as a Paladin. The Dragon Knight, you will see, did something completely crazy. He did 10 times more damage than Ilan, actually 9 times more damage, but that's completely insane. Total hit point healed was 20, it doesn't count for the sadist and lifesteal ability that Finian had. But yeah, he killed more than 1,000 people. He did 360,000 damage, which is absolutely crazy. And he absolutely outshined the late game, because in the mid game he was at 200 kills and 17k damage. So once he turned into a Dragon Knight and that we had the final equipment, he was absolutely overpowered. So yeah, Finian was the MVP of this campaign, definitely. I think that's good to know, that's good to have those stats, because I would have guessed so, but I would have hesitated between him and Kira. And I wouldn't, and Leon, actually. But yeah, he cleared so many small mobs, so many big mobs. He was yeah, absolutely overpowered. So kudos to you, Finian. Leon, it says the strongest force lane is Vortex, but it's actually the first form of Vortex. Alejandro finished him ultimately with his second form. So Leon, our sniper, crowd control, and yeah, low mob, far away mob killer. Killed a lot of smaller mobs as well, finishing them with his high range. He did a lot of damage as well. I don't think it computes his summon Bear, Wolf and Griffin summons, who were mostly tanking and doing some crowd control as well. But he did some very good damage as well. And yeah, he's clearly a second or third MVP with Kira in this game. So Kira, our witch, with the Silent Enchantress title that I will dive into later. Yeah, she Leon, halfway through the campaign, did only 124 kills and 12k damage. So yeah, he clearly outperformed himself in the second half of the campaign. So yeah, very good. Kira, our witch, also clearly started to shine once she reached level 8 and started to have some AoE abilities. Like all mages, the power spike is on... There are many power spikes, but the first one being at level 8. By the mid-game, she only did 11k damage and 178 kills. And she was starting to become very powerful at that time, just a few days before. So yeah, clearly good one. I also am very glad she did that much damage for us. And then Eric, our saint, who did more damage than our frontliner Elon. Eric, by the mid-game, only did 3k damage and killed 75 enemies. Sorry. I used all of my priests and bishops as finishers in my first half of the playthrough, due to their attack being highly reliable, very high in terms of accuracy and very reliable in terms of damage, because it does a fixed amount of true damage. So they usually finish some low HP enemies, so that I don't finish them with overkill with another worthy character. So he was already doing a lot of kills with very low damage, but in the late game I used Eric more offensively as a saint, as we will see in the tier 3 builds. And yes, he did very well. Very well. He buffed a lot of people. He sometimes healed. I did not need much healing in the second half of the campaign. But yeah, he was very reliable, did a lot of AoE, and sometimes was finishing a low HP guy, so hence it's very good stats, which are even better than Elan's, which is surprising. Hence the fact that I would probably not keep a paladin in the very late game for another playthrough. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And we shall dive into titles and tier 3 builds. Let's start with tier 3 builds very quickly. I'll try to speed this up, not to last 3 hours, just like the previous video on episode 50. Let me just show you what are the skills that I chose for my A-team bard here in the skill tree, just for the record, if anyone is interested. Same thing for Ilan. I overbuffed him with all the defensive and aura possible, and I made him also with some offensive abilities, range 1 and basic physical 1. So, Dragon Knight, first of the 6 tier 3 classes. I won't redo how I spec those guys as tier 2 classes, knights in this case. You can check the previous video. I won't redo this because it was already quite extensive. The only change I have made with Finian was to take this one because it offers advanced great swords techniques, because it grants a lot of versatility, and once you TP behind enemy lines, it offers various very nice AoE abilities with extra movements as well in case of slice and dash. It was a suggestion from one of the comments on my previous video from Zexes, sorry for the pronunciation, which I found quite interesting, which I applied, and I'm really glad I did. So yeah, I did this, and I was very pleased. Thank you, Zexes. And regarding the Dragon Knight abilities, I used them all because I have enough skill potions to do so. The first one I took was obviously Dragon Strength, plus 15 passive. Strength is huge, very useful for skills checks and damage, obviously. Then I always use Dragonic Fury on the first turn because Finian, being a sadist and doing a lot of damage, systematically burns all of his BP into more action points and burn his BP through various abilities, but he always recovers and ends up each of his turns at 100, or almost all of his turn back at 100 BP. So I can use safely Dragonic Fury and others quite often, and yeah, that was very interesting because then I could use Fire Breath from time to time, the upgraded version of Fire Breath, which has more range. The final row is 5 tile with damage. PAB is stronger. And yeah, he was doing 20% more damage. I was always using Empower here, 4 stacks of Empower. And Dragon Scale and Forging Fire are nice to have, but not absolutely mandatory. Forging Fire is nice if you use Fire Breath, otherwise it's negligible. And yeah, so 1, 2, 3, I would say 4 and 5. Dragon Scale is nice, but clearly not the first one you should pick as a Dragon Knight. Okay, Dragon Knight done. Beastmaster now. So once again, I won't go for all over again the build for the rangers. Regarding Beastmaster, the first one to take is Animal Trust, because you can summon. Yeah, let me show. Sorry. The unique skills. So you have this unique skill to summon a wolf, a bear, or an eagle. You can only summon one at a time if you disregard the ultimate ability. And yeah, the Dragon Knight Dragon Scale passive is just something that decreases damage received. There is also the Fire Spit ability, which is nice, but I don't use much because my Dragon Knight already had a lot of mobility and range with his basic physical abilities, so I very rarely use that. But I did some from time to time. So as for the Beastmaster build, Animal Trust is very nice because otherwise the AI will take control over your summon, just like on the Basilisks, and if you can wait, have them wait, or move them whenever you want, attack whoever you want, position themselves in choke points, they suddenly become 3 or 4 times better than if they are managed by the AI. So that's the one I would suggest to take first. Then either Unleash the Beast or Beast Mastery to make them sturdier and to have some extra abilities, minor ones. The main one being having plus 50% hit point. And finally, this ultimate skill can be quite nice for bosses because you can summon 3 companions in a row and at the same time, so this is pretty nice. So I would advise this one. The other 2, Beast Mastery 1 is, to my opinion, completely useless. You will never need to resummon each of the companion a second time. Or if you do, you already can, and this Beast Mastery 1 will provide you the ability to cast them, to summon them a 3rd time, because you can have this already, and this. It never happens. I ended all my combats, except for the Emperor one, where I waited for 10 turns before I enter the fight. I end all my combats in 2 or 3 turns. There is no chance I can summon my summons so many times, at least not on the current version of the game. And those skills are not worth it for your companions. Hunt target is made useless by Animal Trust. Healing and dismissing companion is not useful. Just have your companion, just know the one you want to summon and work with it, so I don't think it's a useful skill. Witch. As you can see, I didn't use any lower skill from the Witch. I only use Withering, which is quite underwhelming already, actually. The greatest benefit of the Witch are, in my humble opinion, the increased stats growth, attributes growth, just like all the other tier 3 classes. But I did not use her abilities, mostly due to the fact that I wanted my only elemental caster in the party to be very well able to cast all the elements and all the nice spells at her disposal. If I brought Alyssa to the party, I would likely have chosen only 2 elements on Kiela and 2 others on Alyssa, and split some of the other spells. The idea is that even though I did this, I'm not sure I would have selected those skills. This one I might have. Black Hole is nice. Soul Stealer can be nice because it's dark magic and it's AoE. This one could be nice as well. Reduce cooldown of minor curse by 2 and IP cost by 1. This one I would have taken it, but Kiera is already is a silent enchantress, and as we will see, it decreases casting by 1 AP already. So all my cursors were already down to 1 AP, so I don't need this one. I would have taken it if she had another title. Dark Magic 2 can be nice. Curse of Pain can be quite tricky and can lead to very nice, interesting combos, but I chose not to use them. Slow can be nice, but I prefer to use Lightning Strike and Shock ability instead of Slow, but combined they could be absolutely OP because you would bring the enemies 4 AP turns to AP, so they can't do shit. They can't. If you only use one, they can't move and strike. They can only move or strike. And if you use both, they just can move. They can't strike you. That's very nice. But I chose not to use this. And Curse of Pain can be quite tricky with some nice AI abuse, but I chose not to use this. A Dark Magic Study is something I would never take because I don't rely much on Dark Magic. As you can see, I prefer Elemental Magic because you have Elemental Magic penetration and such, so on various titles. So, and it reduces bravery, so it increases your likelihood of being killed. So I don't use this, and I just chose Withering because it can be a nice buff for yourself and a very nice debuff for the rest of the enemies, close enemies. So that's it for the Witch. Saint. Yeah, once again, just check what I've said for the bishops on the previous video. if you want to, obviously. And for the Saint, I went with everything, all the possible skills. I do believe that Saint skills are an absolute mistake because of cleansing Firestorm. This is the spell I used a lot with Eric that led to him doing 66k. Actually, let me check. No, it's not 666. Anyway, 662 100k damage because, yeah, it's a 3x3 spell. So that's really interesting when there are many mobs, which is the case at that difficulty setting because there are plus 100% mobs on the field. So very nice. Purify Evil can be nice from time to time. I don't use it much because I don't get debuffed a lot because I hand my fights pretty quickly. Angelic Warriors I never used. I don't think it is useful. It could be useful on a Dragon Knight without the fly or without a lot of range, but my Dragon Knight already had a very nice range and the flying ability. Quick healing is very nice. Small passive doesn't make it's a low level one. Quite nice. -1 AP can be very nice, and it synergizes very well with a title I did not take on my stand, but that makes healing your enemies actually hurting them. So yeah, very good one. Soothing Presence, I took it very early. It was buffed during this campaign as per one of my requests actually to the dev. I still think it's pretty underwhelming. I wouldn't take it first on a future playthrough. Nice to have. I could afford it on Eric because I had many skill points available, but that's clearly the last one you should take. Those two, if you don't, if you want to take other ones, high level ones before, those two are the two you should. Sorry, after Cleansing Storm, those two are the two that you should take before Quick Healing and Soothing Presence. Ascension is a very nice passive, allowing you to have more mobility, to be more sturdy, reduce damage and such, and to do more damage on specific type of enemies. And the Army of Heaven, if you can, if you have a bard especially, and that you can manage your BP very well, the Angel can be an extremely powerful ally. It is extremely sturdy, quite strong. It strikes, it does quite a lot of damage. It can debuff and blind enemies. So a very good one that I like to use on tough fights. And I'm very pleased by it. The AI of the Angel is quite tricky. There are still minor bugs on that. I don't know if this will evolve as like you can take control of the Angel with the new skills. That might be something I will suggest to the dev, but at the moment it's still already quite nice. So yeah, something I took. Then Reaper, Beastmaster, and what else? And that's it. So my Reaper and my Beastmaster are not very high level, so you won't see all the skills I could have taken. Misasa did not have any extra skill point. I don't think so. She might have one from the Fountain event in the forest, but I'm not sure. So she wasted 2 skills in our personal skill tree, which I would have put in there if the Reaper was a standard character. So I had her as a Nightshade. I will see the title later. Pretty much focused on poison. So her build was poison oriented. So I did not use much of assassin abilities, which I would have taken later, and I did not use much of Reaper abilities apart from the Sit one. I did take this one. It doesn't look like it, but it's not totally great. I think I took this one to upgrade the Sit because it's a very nice ability. Let me show you the unique skill of the Reaper. It costed 1 AP, it does true damage, very reliable true damage, so it cannot be mitigated by the enemy. And for enemies that have very low HP, you can finish them without wasting your AP with other skills, and you will recover 1 AP, and you will reset the cooldown of the Shadow Thit. So combined with this ultimate Shadow Realm, it can be extremely powerful to finish off low HP mobs all over the map. So what I would have taken for the endgame would have been Frenzy to get some empowered stacks. Deathmark maybe if I could afford with extra extra skill point, because it costs no AP, so it can be very nice. Legendary Dagger Techniques is an absolute must-have, especially for Knife Fan for AoE damage. Carnage is really nice to have to recover some AP, and Carnage 2 can it can be nice also if you, depending how you spec the rest of your character. Slay is not something I take because the increased attack scaling with another 3% for every 1% missing health from target is not worth 40 BP with this sole skill. So I would not waste a skill point on that one. Shadow Arts can be useful. It's very situational if you, depending on how you build the rest of your group, the rest of your party. I would not use it. I would rather use my Reaper as a pure DPS and crowd killer, and not as a debuffer mostly. So this brings survivability and debuffs, but I prefer to see survivability via invisibility and via killing everyone I can, and by dodging, escaping fight if I can, not by using those AP consuming skills. Shadow Person works very well with Shadow Arts because it decreases even further the hit chance you can have with blinded enemies. Upgraded Thit, sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, apologies. Is nice, obviously, if you can afford it, because it increased from 25 to 40 the damage done to clear enemies. Strider can be nice unless you already use Permastealth, which I think will be nerfed in the upcoming patches, because I do believe, at least it will be one of my requests, to slightly nerf permanent stealth, because it's too OP and exploitable, I would say. And obviously Shadow Realms, it's a must-have for being able to move everywhere on the map for free, so yeah. So that's it. If I could spec further my assassins, I would obviously take Critical Mastery and Quick Reflexes, and probably I will take for the guild as well in this case. I could have taken this also on my Dragon Knight, actually. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. And finally, the Beastmaster. I do believe the Reaper and the Beastmaster fall behind on that difficulty setting. I pretty much prefer those 4 tier 3 classes. I still believe those slightly fall behind. They are very nice ones, but you need a Bard and you need... well, actually, I'm not sure you will need a Paladin anymore, but I don't need a second frontliner, I believe. Instead of Reaper or Beastmaster, I would probably take another Eye Mage instead, at least at the moment. But regarding the Swordmaster, let's just see the unique skills. So if you have more than 50% SP, you reduce damage by 10%, nice to have. And since the Mastery of the Sword have your SP back, your SP refunded if you kill some enemies, yeah, that's pretty easy to achieve. So the Swordmaster is pretty nice finisher, a lot of mobility. very actually very similar to the Reaper to some extent, I would say. So I definitely took the basic techniques. It's a must-have to allow the versatility that the Swordmaster is supposed to offer. I also took the secret techniques, the legendary techniques from the Swordmaster. The Stoneblade Assault is very nice. One small thing that is not clearly displayed on that tooltip is that the tile in the middle of the blue square has to be free, because that's where you're gonna TP. So that's not very clear here. I think the middle tile should be white, or at least gray, actually, or green, who knows, because that's where you TP, so that's not clear. You don't do a 3x3 area damage, you do a 3x3 ring area damage. Tempest Thrust is nice, obviously, very similar to the ability from the Knight to dive and damage multiple targets. This one is very nice if you are high in initiative, which will be the case with a Swordmaster. As your movement is completely crap, plus 10 dodge on turn end, you have so many abilities that increases your dodge by 10, for instance this one, permanently, that including before you play or while you play, for counters, for instance, that this one falls behind. You can take it if you have 3 skill points to spare, but I will take it at the very last opportunity. And Eternal Requiem is very nice, according to me. Very high DPS, nice AoE. So Daryl did not reach level 20, but that's definitely something I would have taken, obviously. So that's more or less it for the tier 3 classes. And last thing, I think, is the titles. Alright, titles, I'll try to go quickly. I will directly skip to the tier 3 of each title, because that's the one that is really the objective, the final aim of each, the final, how to say that, the final version you will get, the final version you will want, and that will determine for what class you want this title. Arcane Ravager would have been the title I would have given to Alyssa if I brought her to my A team. Because there are 6 titles, according to me, for mages. Arcane Ravager, Swift Sorceress, I will talk about it next, and the 4 elemental ones, which are the Spark for lightning, Geomancer for earth, Frostweaver for ice, and Ember Mage for fire. The best of the 6 one to me is the Swift Sorceress. Why? Because of the passive that grants -1 AP for Arcane Skill, which is incredibly good. There is a drawback, obviously, which is the loss of magical power and the increased SP cost. So the fact that you go from 3 to 2 AP to cast some major spells actually is very good for your DPS. And if you see that at the last level, it's very good because if you have -10% magic potency, from time to time you will one-shot all the enemies, so -10% is not much, and actually that's some overkill damage that you don't do, so that's not a big deal. However, the issue is in terms of SP, so you better have a bard in your team to make sure you recover enough SP, and you might from time to time have to burn your AP to use the high mage ability to recover some SP. But yeah, that's the one I used on my Swift Sorceress, and it's pretty on par with Arcane Ravager, which bring plus 25% magical attack at the cost of more SP, obviously. So this could have been used on Eric, but I used something else on Eric. So I could have brought this to Eric. I would be perfectly okay with this. But the thing is, Eric cannot regenerate SP as a saint, apart from the bard ability. So it can be kind of tricky, and I can deplete his SP quite fast, although he has 300 SP by the end game, so that would be pretty unlikely. The overkill ability can be quite nice on high mages, which do some AoE. So that's why I would probably use it on Alyssa instead. Would have used it on Alyssa. And if we do a bit of math, let's suppose we cast some equivalent of 6 AP spells. With you, I would have a total of 125 times 2, which is 250% magical power, at the cost of 260 SP, with a possibility of overkill. I would cast 2 spells, 250 output in terms of magical power, and 260 in terms of SP burned. Whereas for the Swiss Sorceress, I could cast 3 spells, obviously, for 270 magical potency instead of 250. But I could more easily target whoever I want, because I would cast 3 spells instead of 2. I would not have the overkill damage, so overall in terms of damage output it's pretty much even, I would say, but there is more versatility in this one and more potential targets, so I prefer this one. And in terms of SP, I would be at 300 because I would obviously cast 3 spells. So yeah, these two are pretty comparable, pretty well balanced in my humble opinion. I slightly prefer this one, but that's personal matter. But I would perfectly understand that some people prefer Arcane Ravager on some Witch. Then you have the 4, I'm gonna do them now, the 4 elemental ones. So Ember Mage, all of them bring plus 30% potency, elemental penetration and elemental resistance, minus 30 for the other 3 elements, and a nice passive, in this case plus 1 duration for the status burning, and it reduces the SP cost also for each of the elements by 30%, for the specific element by 30%. So Frostweaver is the same thing. It has 2 vulnerable stacks, which are very nice, so I prefer this one actually. I chose Ember Mage on Alyssa, but I should have taken Frostweaver. But I turned her into a Fire Mage at the beginning of the campaign. Geomancer actually can be pretty nice, but I would use this on an Arcanate actually, because the 50 physical resistance can be quite nice. So I would likely use the heavy earth armor combined with this for an Arcanite. That's my personal opinion. I didn't use Arcanite on this campaign, but that's probably what I would have used. But otherwise you can use this on a earth-based mage. And ultimately you have the Spark, which I believe everyone will use on the A-tier mage. It's not my case. I would perfectly understand that, because many people love lightning mages due to the fact they can have very nice results in terms of shocking enemies. But due to the fact that the shocking debuffs brings minus 1 AP, which is very good, and I perfectly understand that, I preferred to use this on my bard so that he could actually also use a shock ability from time to time, offensively whenever needed, with the medium armor, which is lightning based, which can be pretty nice. So those 4 titles to me are very good on mages, but there is one drawback for each one of them, is that if you apply them on your A mage in your A team, instead of the Swift one and the Ravager one, you might face some battles where enemies are immune and actually heal from your elemental mastery, which can be quite annoying. You have Ashen Land, which brings a lot of phoenixes and whatever fire immune enemies. You have the Frozen Lands, the Tundra, Ice Tundra, where some enemies are immune to ice. So it can be kind of tricky. Like, this is perfectly you have many workarounds for that, but yeah, they can be quite annoying. So that's why I don't use this on my A team. I would prefer Arcane Ravager and Swift Sorceress on mages who can have some skill points in specific element masteries, but not the title. And I like the titles. I would say one on the Bard, one on an Arcanite, why not? An Ember Mage and Frostweaver, why not? Because they are still quite good. The only one I would use on a mage would actually be the Spark one, just like many of you probably, because Spark one lightning spells are very good. The reason I use Ember Mage is because the fire spells in terms of AoE is the only one that can target 4 enemies. It has 4 tiles compared to the Frostweave tier 2 spell that has only 3. The earth spells have been reworked during this campaign and now are different again. They don't do much AoE damage. But this one has a great possibility of hitting 1 additional target. Hence the fact that I would probably use this one if I had to choose one for my top tier mages. So that's it for the 6 first titles. The Brave, very versatile, to be used for any adventurer that will burn a lot of BP and he will kill a lot of enemies due to inspiring passive and due to this fearless passive ability that reduces a brave action cost by 50% and the brave skills by 5 BP cost. So very versatile one you can use on many people. Just use it on the one where you will burn a 60 or at least in this case 30 or so BP per turn. The Butcher, obviously to be used on a bleeding heavy build, which I don't use. I don't like that, but it can be pretty interesting one, I believe, for any of you that would use a bleeding build. Not my case, so I will skip this one. Captain can be a pretty nice one on a Paladin, I believe, because Paladin tend to be doing not much DPS, being auras, working auras, and so it can be quite nice to have plus 35 resistance, plus 30 initiatives if you want to skill to cast a buff or a debuff before anything else. The commands have been slightly buffed during this playthrough. Initially they costed 3 AP, now they cost only 2, but that's still too much, I believe. The final passive have them cost 1 less AP, but that's still a bit too much, I believe. Well, that's my personal opinion. You can do some nice tricks with that, granting plus 3 movement, for instance, at the cost of 1 AP, but I don't believe that's worth it. You can grant protected, 3 and rooted. Why not? That's not very useful. You can delay or speed up the target's turn, but that's something you can do via other means. So, Crimson Adventurer, an absolute blessing if you have someone with Sadist, which watch the case of my Dragon Knight, which brings life steal. So yeah, Crimson Adventurer was only healed once from the whole campaign, I believe. Absolute, you don't need healing at all. You do thousands of damage every turn, so yeah, there is no need for healing afterwards. But you can find some better ones sometimes. But I had only a 1 Sadist, so I applied this to Finad. There are other Captain could be nice also on Dragon Knights to have him play first on every turn. You just have to make sure that you have some buffers or debuffers to play first if you want to. But the physical resistance can be nice as well on any frontliner. So yeah, So Crimson Adventurer for any sadist, frontliner or not, but obviously better on the frontliner. The elusive, an extremely interesting one. That I applied on my ranger, to be turned Beastmaster. It decreases your likelihood of being injured, of being targeted. It brings a very nice active ability, which is Summon a Decoy, which costs 2 AP, which is very, very well worth it. That will have an aura of taunting aura of 3x3. Well, actually, ultimately, that would be a 7x7 square centered on the decoy, which can be really good in terms of crowd control. And plus, an initiative can be nice for crowd control on a ranger with traps and so forth, and with taunting as well, and with invisibility afterwards. There is one interesting thing to consider. The elusive brings +1 movement. And there is a meta that I did not use on my campaign that I will share with you, which can be achieved with this teamwork training. Move together. If the character is a leader, reduce their movement by 1. If not, then increase the movement of this character to the movement value of the leader. Nothing changes if their movement value is higher. So if you have, for instance, a born leader bard with quick, you can use an armor that grant +1 movement. You can use 2 accessories that grant +1 movement each. And you can have this title as well to bring your bard up to 9 movement. And with this teamwork training, you can thus increase all your allies in your party movement up to 8, which is absolutely insane. There are some drawbacks, the main one being that you won't use the loot, the elegant loot. Sorry, I can't find it. Where the fuck? Yes, it's one. That grants +3 AP and some HP bonus, but mostly that increases BP recovered by all your adventurers for every song you play, regardless of the song. And I prefer to have the elegant loot because BP management is above that, so that I wouldn't use the 2 accessory slots. Probably I would skip a lot. That's my personal take on that one. But still, the elusive combined with this type of meta for the teamwork training and party abilities is something I've been considering a lot for this playthrough, but I haven't used, and I don't have a bard with quick. I have a bard with born leader, brave and kind. I would have switched kind for this quick trait in that case, but I didn't use it. But I believe some people would be purposely using it on purpose, and I congratulate them on that. And yeah, that's a type of build I would probably do at some point, and I do recommend you to try this. But I didn't use it in this campaign. Yes, final titles. I try to speed up a little. Up. Butcher Captain, Crimson Master, Elusive. Yeah, so we've done it. We've done Frostmaster, Geomancer, Ember Mage already. Holy Warrior is a must-have for your A-Team Paladin. It increases damage against Demon and Undead. Okay, nice passive. It brings a very nice aura on 4 tiles actually, because the Paladin has an extra passive to extend all the aura by 2 extra tiles. So it brings a 4-tile aura, so 4 tiles behind you, 4 tiles above you, in front of you, sorry, 4 tiles on the left and 4 tiles on the right. So it's a 9x9 square centered on the paladin, where every enemy will do a minus 10% damage. So it's very good. This by itself makes the paladin much more worthy, useful in a party. And then the Accuse ability, which is only usable once per quest, so you have to be careful about that, can be really nice on bosses because it has a weaken 3 and a vulnerable 3 for 2 turns. So yeah, you can pretty much disable a boss by more than 30% in terms of DPS and HP just by this ability. Sorry, you don't disable 30% HP because it's yeah, you got my point if you know the math. Anyway, Melee Archer is an absolute crap title according to me, except on Bard. So I use this on Alejandro. Might not have been the best title I could use on him ultimately. Sorry, but that's the only one that can be used on. That's the Bard are the only classes and can benefit from that title according to me, because the drawback is the range kill cannot have a higher range than 3. And so to me that's absolutely impossible to use with rangers who can have crazy high ranges. So this makes it to me prohibitive for rangers or archers, or for archers actually. Archers have a max range of 3, maybe 4, so why not? But archers will turn rangers at some point. So yeah, that can be nice on a bard because yeah, they are the only one to carry bows as well, and they don't have a range extension, so this drawback is not one actually. Well, it doesn't count, so it just brings more damage on close quarters, in close range, and it also brings the martial arts skill tree that is not useful. I did not use it on my bard, but yeah. So that I used this on Alejandro, my bard, and yeah, that's my only guess, the only advice I can give on that one. The Mender can be nice. To me, it's a not a very good title. You can use this on any priest that is not in your A team, I believe. Very C team priest, I would say. I use the Quack on my B tier, on my B team bishop, which I believe is better because it grants plus 10% magical attack, so it's any type of spell that could benefit from it, not only healing spells. And it also had a very nice passive, which is harmful healing, which means you can, instead of healing enemies, you can use the same spell to on them. So it can be extremely good, even on the Saint. We'll talk about the potion one afterwards. Even on the Saint, actually. And this actually is a very good title, in my humble opinion. And yeah, I could have switched it with the potion servant I use on Eric, who is my saint. So the Mender has been done. Poison Mixer, extremely good on a poison hard build, which was the case of Alisa as an assassin in the first place, so that was on point. Yeah, so obviously increases poison output. It also allows you to have poison weapon ability, which doesn't cost any AP. Poison dart, it's not that useful according to me. It's the poison abilities of the assassins are slightly better, more damage, more AoE actually. So this one is crap. And Nightshade can be nice, especially with the AoE ability of the poison AoE ability of the assassin, because it can become pretty bonkers, poisoning everyone. The Poison Servant, a very interesting one, very well designed, I would say, by GreenGuy, by the developer. You could actually use this on almost everyone. Plus 10 HP, plus 10 SP, everyone can use that. Plus 5% physical and magical attack, everyone can benefit from this. Plus 10% initiative as well. Plus 30 poison resistance, okay, why the fuck not? Only drawback is the requirement, 15 intelligence, so that would be hard to use on a Damas Fog Knight, for instance. But everyone can benefit from it. So one of the passive is potion will last 2 turns longer. I didn't use any potion on that playthrough, as I mentioned, but it also comes with these very nice potions in your sleeves. Personal healing potion, personal mana potion, offensive potion, defensive potion, and speed potion. And you can only use one at a time every 5 turns, because otherwise you get toxic 2. One toxic 1 plus toxic 1 equals toxic 2. And that would harm you by 10% HP every turn. That's doable, obviously, especially if you have healing. But those potions are very nice, because this one, for instance, is usable once per rest, and it grants you back 100% of your SP. Absolutely ideal for classes who cannot easily regenerate SP and who would burn SP faster than what the bard can bring them back. That's my take on that type of title. Healing potion, yeah, you usually have some way to heal, but why not? Offensive potion is also very nice, especially on the Saint. That's probably why I took this title. Because before you cast a Cleansing Firestorm, you just drink this, and it grants you plus 40% magical attack. So this is very nice. You usually have the Emperor stack from the Bard, you just then drink this. So the Emperor stack, let's say you have 4 of them with the different teamwork training and different Bard. You also had this, so you have plus 80% magical attack just before you cast the 3x3 AoE spell of the Saint. So this is very good, according to me. With the personal mana potion, you can drink somewhere during the quest, because you cannot regenerate easily the SP on your Saint. And yeah, you also have the personal defensive potion if you need at some point, you know, enemy gets closer, you say, okay, let's have this for survivability. And speed potion, I never used it, but why not at some point if the others are already used? Why not? So yeah, very versatile, very good title according to me, that I would use either on my Saint, or you could use this on a Beastmaster as well. My Beastmaster had mana core, so it did not need especially some SP back, but he was, even with mana core, he was burning so hard on his SP that I could have used this on my Ranger or Beastmaster. I tend to use every possible skill every turn with the Ranger Beastmaster to cast a lot of to do a lot of damage, to snipe a lot of enemies. Or you could use this also on your Dragon Knight, because Dragon Knight use a lot of BP, a lot of SP, a lot of abilities for movement, AoE, and so forth. So the 2 potions for extra physical damage and extra SP regeneration could be quite interesting as well for Beastmaster or maybe Swordmaster, even though Swordmaster can manage his SP pretty well. Or the Reaper actually, or an Assassin actually could use this if you don't use Poison or Bleed builds. Yeah, that's one of the most versatile one, I believe. Very very handy, very well designed. If you have some builds with this one you would like to share, I would be keen on learning from you guys. So please do not hesitate to enlighten me in the comments. And I think that's one of the one that might evolve the most as well with the future patches for this game. The Quack, the Resilient, just like the Brave or any frontliner versatile one, is very good. Extra HP, extra resistances, small regeneration, requires a lot of endurance. I think it's a good one for monks, actually. And yeah, that's the one I would apply in monk, I believe. Or any frontliner, versatile one in the B team, if you want extra survivability. The Shade, clearly something you could use on the Reaper. I chose to use it in on a Ranger because why not? It brings extra accurate, extra hidden duration that could be nice with the healing ability of the ranger. Due to the fact also that when you want to reposition, you get extra movement, and that you will do extra damage on the first strike. This title is actually more inclined for a Reaper, I would say, but since my Reaper was late and that I mostly use Misasa, as poison dealer, I use a shade on the B tier ranger. Just for this campaign. The Spark, we already went through it. The Stubborn. Quite underwhelming one. I mentioned this to the dev actually. It's very hard to use because you need the Determine trait, which is not a common one, so very hard to apply. And it doesn't bring much to the table in my humble opinion. +1 movement, extra mind, poison and bleeding resistance, which is not that useful. And freedom of movement and cannot forcefully be moved is not that useful in my humble opinion. So that one is clearly an E tier title according to me that could be modified in the future. And since it has a +1 movement, you could use this in the beta I mentioned, where you put all the movement in your leader and use the teamwork skill, where everyone's movement is increased to 8. Swift Sorceress already mentioned. And then the Weapon Adept, which is, according to me, a very nice one for physical characters and dodgy characters mostly. I would probably use this on a Sworn Master or a Monk, maybe. Extra physical attack, -50 SP for any physical skills is absolutely great. The extra counter could be quite handy as well. On a Paladin, for instance, or on a Guardian could be quite nice if you have the Lifesteal Swan and Shield, because the more you counter, the more you will recover some HP, and also because some frontliner may not tend to have great SP pool, and they can sometimes be great SP burners. So this title, in this case, would come in pretty handy, I would say. Also, my bad, it's not applied. That's one of my requests to the dev, to have this applied to monks, and which is not the case. The name suggests that you need a weapon. Do you consider the monk's fists as a weapon or not? Is a debate, but to me this should be a. I wish this was applicable to monks, which is not the case at the present time. Sorry. So on a Guardian, on a Paladin, or on an Assassin, actually, Assassins have many physical skills, and they use a lot of SP. So if you don't have mana core, for instance, on your Assassins, this might come in handy. And it might as well be handy on Rangers, apart from the passive, the extra physical attack and the SP reduced cost. As I said, Rangers tend to be depleted in terms of SP pretty quickly, so that title might come in handy. So yeah, I think that's all for this video. Sorry once again if it was a bit long, but there were many things to cover actually. Sorry for broken English, sorry for any sound issues, sorry if I coughed a little in my mic. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video, I do hope you enjoyed this series if you watch a couple of episodes. Please let me know any comments you would have on this tier 3 and titles insights that I shared. Once again, it's with all the humility I can have, because I've done a couple of playthroughs for that game, but the game has evolved already since then. I'm not a perfect guy in terms of a playthrough. I did many mistakes, many mistakes in that playthrough. Some people have tried harder settings earlier in the campaign. At least that's what I presume. The next campaign I will do, I'll probably start with the highest difficulty settings possible. at the day one. But not now, probably. I will wait a little. And I will mention a few exploits to the dev as well, so that I did not use them, but I mentioned them, some of them along the way. I did not want to use them in this campaign, but I didn't want to use any cheese tactics. But I think some minor things should be tweaked a little. And then I would happily do once again a full playthrough, because this game is a hidden gem according to me. And I hope you've purchased it already. Please do so if you haven't already. It's $15 more or less, or 15 euros, or whatever conversion you would have in your country. And yeah, pretty much worth it, in my humble opinion, at least to my taste. Hope you enjoyed this video once again. Sorry for broken English. Please let me know in the comments whatever comes to your mind for that video. And as always, see you guys for the next video, but I don't think there will be one. I created this YouTube channel for this Let's Play series. I don't know if I will publish anything else. We will see as time goes by. If I don't, it has been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to do this Let's Play series. Hope you enjoyed, and that's it. Cheers.